The Braxton family has always lived in the spotlight, but this time the spotlight feels more like a fire that's burning everything down. Fans tuned in expecting laughter, music, and maybe the usual sisterly disagreements. But what they got was something entirely different. The new season of The Braxtons isn't just another reality show, it's a battlefield. And at the very center of it all is Ashley Braxton, the niece who never wanted fame, never wanted cameras, but whose truth has now pushed Toni Braxton and Tamar Braxton into the ugliest family war we've ever seen. From the very first trailer drop, the internet could feel the shift. A 7-minute sneak peek sent shockwaves across social media, with fans replaying the clip over and over just to catch every word, every glance, every explosive moment. At first it looks like a typical Braxton dinner table scene, laughter forced through awkward smiles, silence filling the spaces no one wants to touch. But then the energy changes. Voices rise, chairs scrape, a table is shoved back with force, and the words that echo louder than anything are Toni Braxton declaring, "I'm a heavyweight. Don't mess with me, Tamar." That single line alone turned into a viral moment, with hashtags flooding Twitter, TikTok edits replaying the shove, and Instagram fan pages dissecting the scene frame by frame. But to truly understand how the Braxton family got here, you have to go back to Ashley Braxton's confession, a confession that cracked open wounds the family had kept hidden for years. Months before the camera started rolling for season 2, Ashley Braxton, now 32, uploaded a trembling video to social media. Her voice shook as she revealed that when she was just 16 years old, she had received inappropriate text messages from one of her aunt's husbands. At the time, she expected protection. She expected her family to rally behind her, and for a brief moment, she says, some did, embracing her, telling her she wasn't to blame. But as the years rolled on, that support turned into whispers. The whispers became accusations, and suddenly Ashley Braxton wasn't seen as a victim anymore. She was painted as a problem. That pain never left her. Therapy gave her the courage to find her voice again, and when she finally spoke publicly, she wasn't just speaking for herself. She was speaking for every young girl who had ever been told to keep quiet, every teenager who had been made to feel guilty for someone else's actions. And the internet responded instantly. Fans speculated, argued, and pointed fingers at which Braxton husband she might be talking about. Many assumed it was Toni Braxton's late husband, Gabe, whose reputation had already carried heavy shadows. The backlash was merciless. Comment sections flooded with accusations. Trina's name was dragged online in a way that made it seem like she herself had been the one hiding secrets. For Toni Braxton, it was devastating. She later admitted through tears that she once held Ashley Braxton in her arms and apologized to her. But the internet doesn't forgive easily. Memes, tweets, and cruel comments painted her as the protector of a predator. The bullying didn't stop, and even though she insisted, she never turned her back on Ashley Braxton. The damage to her image was done. This is where Tamar Braxton stepped in. Known for her fiery personality and never hold back attitude, Tamar Braxton couldn't sit silently while her niece was being torn apart. Tamar Braxton had her own history of being silenced, her own stories of abuse that had been brushed aside. And when she looked at Ashley Braxton, she saw herself. She promised her niece protection, not behind closed doors, not in whispers, but out loud in public, with a platform that no one could take away. So she invited Ashley Braxton onto her podcast. She told her niece, "This is your safe space. Say what you need to say. No filters, no silencing." But of course, not every Braxton sister agreed. Toni Braxton, the eldest, the icon, the one who built the Braxton name into a legacy, saw things differently. To Toni Braxton, family was sacred. The Braxton image was sacred. She wasn't denying that Ashley Braxton had been hurt. She wasn't pretending the pain wasn't real. But what she refused to accept was the idea of turning that trauma into podcast content. For Toni Braxton, airing the family's darkest secrets in front of microphones and cameras wasn't protection. It was exploitation. She believed those conversations should have been handled in private, away from fans, away from headlines, away from people who would twist every detail for clicks. That difference in perspective became the crack that split the entire family apart. Because shortly after Tamar Braxton recorded with Ashley Braxton, a cease and desist letter landed on her desk. Legal language, threats of consequences, a warning to shut it down. When Tamar Braxton revealed on camera that she had received that letter, everything changed. She didn't see it as a family trying to protect itself. She saw it as her sisters trying to silence her, trying to erase Ashley Braxton's truth, and trying to suffocate her business at the same time. She didn't name names directly, but every glare, every pointed finger, every sharp word in that dinner scene left fans convinced Toni Braxton was the one behind it. The dinner scene itself is now legendary. Tamar Braxton leans forward, eye sharp, voice trembling with rage. She says, "I brought my niece here to feel safe. And what did y'all do? You tried to shut me down with a cease and desist. You tried to silence her. You tried to silence me." The room falls into a suffocating silence. For a few seconds, no one speaks. Then, calmly, coldly, Toni Braxton responds. She denies everything. She says she never sent the letter. But Tamar Braxton doesn't believe a word of it, and that's when it happens. Toni Braxton shoves the table back, her chair scraping against the floor as she rises to her feet. Her eyes lock onto her sister, and with a voice that carries decades of pain, pride, and power, she declares, "I'm a heavyweight. Don't mess with me, Tamar." It wasn't just a line, it was a declaration of war. The energy in the room shifted instantly. Toni Braxton broke down in tears, crying that she had been unfairly attacked by fans and bullied for years. She insisted she wasn't the villain people painted her to be. Towanda Braxton stayed quiet, her eyes darting between her sisters as if she was watching a ship sink in slow motion. And the most haunting part? Ashley Braxton wasn't even at the table. The niece whose truth had set all of this into motion wasn't there to defend herself, wasn't there to be comforted, wasn't there to see how her story had ripped her family apart. That absence was louder than any word spoken. Because while Toni Braxton and Tamar Braxton were shouting across the table about the right way to handle the truth, Ashley Braxton was once again alone. Alone just like she had been at 16. Alone just like she had been when whispers replaced protection. And that's the heartbreak fans can't get past. Season 2 of The Braxtons isn't about music anymore. It isn't about sisterly reconciliation. It isn't about celebrity appearances or career moves. It's about survival of reputations, of brands, of personal voices. And most importantly, of Ashley Braxton's story, which has now become the epicenter of chaos. The internet has already chosen sides. Some fans praise Toni Braxton for protecting the family name, insisting she's the only one thinking long-term. Others cheer for Tamar Braxton, saying she's the only one brave enough to give Ashley Braxton her voice back. And thousands more are flooding social media with hashtags demanding justice for Ashley Braxton, refusing to let her name be drowned out by lawyers, letters, or arguments at dinner tables. But one question lingers louder than all the rest: who actually sent the cease and desist? If it wasn't Toni Braxton, then who wanted to silence Ashley Braxton's truth before it ever reached the cameras? The Braxton family dinner scene might have given us the table shove, and Toni Braxton's declaration of being a heavyweight. But the story doesn't end there. In fact, that was only the beginning. The cameras didn't stop rolling. And what unfolded in the days and weeks after that confrontation is what turned the season into the most chaotic chapter in Braxton history. Chaotic chapter in Braxton history. The flashbacks woven through the trailer remind fans that this wasn't just about one dinner. The real battle started when Tamar Braxton made the choice to put Ashley Braxton in front of a microphone. That podcast episode became the ticking time bomb everyone knew would go off. In the clip, Ashley Braxton sat nervously, her hands folded, her voice low but steady as she described what happened to her as a teenager. She explained how the text made her feel ashamed, how she wanted to believe her family would stand behind her, and how that belief shattered when blame began to circle back onto her. She admitted that the silence from her aunts hurt more than the texts themselves. And while she was speaking, Tamar Braxton sat across from her, nodding, affirming, repeating the words, "You're safe here." That podcast was never meant to be quiet. Tamar Braxton knew it would shake the internet, and it did. Fans flooded platforms with clips. Hashtags like #ProtectAshleyBraxton started trending, and even celebrities reposted snippets with their own commentary. But with every share, the divide in the family deepened. Toni Braxton saw the podcast as proof of exploitation. To her, it was the exact nightmare she had tried to prevent. Their family trauma turned into viral soundbite. As for strangers to dissect, the cease and desist letter, still a mystery in terms of who sent it, hangs over the family like a storm cloud. Tamar Braxton insists it was aimed directly at her, an attempt to destroy her business and erase Ashley Braxton's truth. Toni Braxton denies it. Toni Braxton avoids the question. Towanda Braxton stays quiet. And the longer the letter goes unclaimed, the more the internet speculates. Was it Toni Braxton, desperate to shield the family name? Was it Toni Braxton, terrified of what the allegations meant for Gabe's memory? Or was it Ashley Braxton's own father, pulling strings in the background to silence his daughter before her words burned everything down? The show teases this mystery relentlessly. Producers flash quick cuts of envelopes on desks, Tamar Braxton holding out the letter with tears in her eyes, Toni Braxton refusing to answer directly, and Toni Braxton breaking down in confessional interviews. The tension is cinematic. Meanwhile, Toni Braxton's struggle becomes its own subplot. In her one-on-one interview, she breaks down while describing the bullying she endured after Ashley Braxton's video. She insists she never betrayed her niece, that she embraced her once and said she was sorry. But then she admits something that stops fans in their tracks. She says she felt trapped between protecting her late husband's name and protecting her niece. Trapped between truth and loyalty. Her words shake as she confesses that no matter what she said, the internet chose to see her as a villain. And for many fans, that emotional breakdown sounded less like defense and more like guilt. Tawanda Braxton emerges as a quiet mediator, the one sister trying to piece together shattered fragments. She asks the questions that fans scream from their couches. Why didn't you call Ashley? Why didn't you fight harder to be there for her? Her comments contrast with the chaos, but even she can't contain what's happening. At one point, Tawanda Braxton sighs on camera and says, "This family might never be the same." But the real storm brews between Toni Braxton and Tamar Braxton. Their relationship has always been layered with love and rivalry, admiration and envy. But this fight over Ashley Braxton becomes a line in the sand. Tamar Braxton accuses Toni Braxton of caring more about image than about truth. She says her eldest sister hides behind the word protection when what she really means is silence. On the other side, Toni Braxton accuses Tamar Braxton of chasing attention, of turning pain into podcast ratings, of using Ashley Braxton as a storyline rather than as family. The clash is raw. In one moment, Tamar Braxton shouts, "You didn't protect me, and now you don't want me to protect her." It's a dagger straight to the heart, because everyone watching knows Tamar Braxton is also talking about herself, about her own cries for help that were ignored years ago. Toni Braxton stares back, lips pressed tight, and replies coldly, "This isn't about you, Tamar, this is about the family." The room goes silent again. But the damage is done, and through it all, the haunting reality remains. Ashley Braxton isn't even in the room. Her absence feels louder with every scene. She becomes a symbol of everything that's broken spoken about, argued over, defended, denied but never actually protected in the way she needs. By mid-season, the show promises even more revelations. Producers tease footage of Ashley Braxton finally confronting her aunts face-to-face. No podcasts, no trailers, just raw dialogue. In a brief clip, she is seen telling them, "I didn't ask for the spotlight. I asked for protection, and I never got it." Those words alone have fans counting down the days until the episode airs. Social media has turned into its own battlefield. Some fans line up firmly behind Tamar Braxton, praising her for breaking cycles of silence and calling her the only sister brave enough to stand with Ashley Braxton. Others rally behind Toni Braxton, insisting that she's the only one thinking long-term, the only one trying to keep the Braxton name intact. And then there are fans torn apart, devastated that a family once seen as a picture of sisterhood is now splintering into factions. Before their very eyes, the questions are relentless. Who sent the cease and desist? Did Toni Braxton know more than she's saying? Did Tawanda Braxton keep her distance out of fear, or out of complicity? And what happens when Ashley Braxton speaks again, not on a podcast, not in a trailer, but in front of cameras with nowhere left to hide? The final moments of the trailer are chilling. Toni Braxton storms out, her heels clicking against the floor like gunshots. Tamar Braxton sits seething, her arms crossed, her eyes locked on the empty chair where Ashley Braxton should have been. Toni Braxton cries uncontrollably, her mascara smudged, her voice trembling. Tawanda Braxton sits frozen, staring at the table as if the pieces of the family are scattering in real time. And the screen fades to black with the date, October 10th. This isn't just another season premiere. This is a warning. Because when those episodes air, fans won't just be watching another reality show, they'll be watching the collapse of a family, legacy, and the cruelest irony? The war isn't really between Toni Braxton and Tamar Braxton. The real battle is over Ashley Braxton's voice. Whether it will finally be heard without conditions, whether it will finally be protected without agendas, or whether, once again, it will be drowned out by arguments, legal letters, and dinner table chaos. As fans prepare for season 2, they're left with a chilling set of questions. Can Toni Braxton and Tamar Braxton ever repair what's been shattered? Will Toni Braxton ever escape the shadow of her late husband's reputation? Will Tawanda Braxton stay neutral forever? Or will she finally take a side? And most importantly, will Ashley Braxton finally get the protection she's been begging for since she was 16? The countdown is on. And this time, it's not just about entertainment. It's about survival, of truth, of reputation, of sisterhood, and of one young woman's right to be heard.